Hi folks, welcome back to Aviary Adventures. We're just about to set off on, I think, our most ambitious journey yet. We're heading, hopefully, up to the Hebrides, the Inner Hebrides, to Mull. So we've got a couple of days to do it. It's Friday night now, so join us on this experience.
Wish us luck.
Wish us luck, yeah.
I've got in the car because the weather outside is pretty horrendous, and just to explain a little bit more about this trip, we're hopefully going to try and search for white-tailed eagles that are in Mull. Fingers crossed for us, eh?
Our first mission was to try and get over the border into Scotland in enough time for our night layover. As we got close, we started spotting some unusual creatures on the road. This made driving a little difficult. When we finally parked up, we checked out the scene.
So it seems we might have found a strange frog and toad migration across the road near our first night's layover place. There's loads of them. We're just walking down the road. I have to say it made the drive a little bit more complex, because everywhere you look there's amphibians in the road. They're super cool.
He's dead chilling. He's like,
So I've also got this little fellow here on the road that I think is a newt. I don't know my amphibians well enough, unfortunately, but I'm going for newt on this one. If anyone would like to comment and help me out, thank you.
On Saturday morning, we woke up to a beautiful scene.
Hi folks, this is our overnight destination. Obviously we got here when it was dark yesterday, so we didn't really see around. After a quick walk when we got here, just looking at all the frogs and toads and newts and stuff on the road, we settled down for the night and woke up to the most amazing scenery. This is southern Scotland. I think it's a place called Aviary. That seems to ring a bell.
Before we set off, we decided to have a little walk round. We walked down to a stunning little stream and were greeted by a dipper. The water was crystal clear, so we decided to make use of it.
One thing about this wild camping is unusual washing scenarios. It works. It's a beautiful stream here in southern Scotland.
After a quick cuppa, we set off.
Yeah, so our plan today is to go north, hopefully towards Oban, and cross into Mull later on the Inner Hebrides.
As our ferry was late, we had all day to get to Oban, so we stopped up a few times en route.
So after a few hours driving, we've decided to take a little break at the lock that I can't remember the name of, but I'll name it in the video in a moment. It's raining now, which we kind of expected, but the scenery is epic and very, very eerie. It's really misty and foggy, and but it's pretty stunning, to be honest.
We stopped off again on another beautiful stream, went out for a little stroll. After directing a lost American couple, we headed on the road again and drove past an amazing looking old building, so we stopped to check it out. It was called St. Conan's Kirk. There is an amazing amount of history attached to this building, and I recommend, if you're in the area, take a good look. But we had to get back on the road.
Hey, we're at Oban on the seafront of the dock. We've just had a cool bit of fish from a fish stall, some roll mops and prawn tails, which was amazing. Then after that, as if that wasn't enough, we've just gone for a really nice meal at a restaurant. We're waiting for our ferry over to Mull, which is quite late.
After dinner, we had a little wander to see some of Oban's sights before heading towards the car.
So we're waiting to head down to the ferry port. We're a bit early, our ferry's quite late, it's 25 past 10. So we're just waiting for a few minutes to get on the ferry port. The weather is horrendous, as you can see.
When we got to the dock, it was hammering it down, but getting on the ferry was very, very efficient. And we were soon underway, heading over to Mull. Once we docked at Mull, it was an hour drive to our overnight layover. It was very late when we got there, so we got our heads down quick. When I woke up, I was greeted with an amazing scene. We parked on the beach. It was absolutely stunning. The bay was picturesque. There were birds like hooded crows and common gulls on the beach. There were a few other tents and camper vans about, yet it was really quiet. What a spot.
We are on Mull. It's very rainy. It's been raining a lot in the night. It's quite early. We're gonna have a trip around the island, try and find some birds of prey, eagles and such. I've already seen common gull and hooded crow this morning, which is kind of cool. And there's some crazy people going for a swim in the sea. It's absolutely freezing. Seen a bit.
Our road tour of Mull was underway. One thing we noticed really quickly was how breathtaking the scenery was. There were many little lochs, waterfalls, crags, cliffs, forests and hills. There were lovely little bays all around the island. Most of them had birds or wildlife around them. There was barely any other traffic on the road. Although the weather was very mixed, quite wet most of the time, it made for quite a surreal but awesome landscape. We searched around for a while, looking for the eagles that we wanted to find. Unfortunately, we did see plenty of birds, but initially no eagles. We found a lovely buzzard, but then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a bird in the sky. We quickly got out the car, Kaylee set the scope up, and we looked for it. We found it. The large shape in the sky was a golden eagle. We watched it fly around and then over our heads for a while. It was an amazing sight to behold. We were both pretty excited. We got back on the road and watched some other wildlife like the local grey-eyed geese, and once again appreciating the great scenery. But unfortunately, soon there was a blockage in the road.
So there's bulls in the way with really big horns, and there's a car coming in the way. I don't know where he thinks he's going. Look, should I back up into him and he tried it?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's backing up. This is a bad move.
These weren't the mammals we were after, but soon we did find some. We found some deer. These are some of Kaylee's favourite animals, so she was excited. Following that, we found a bay and saw a seal. After very much driving around the island, we found one of the most common birds was oyster catchers. Another common bird that seemed to follow us was grey heron. Other birds we were lucky enough to see were common sandpiper, lots of hooded crow, and the ever rarer curlew. Ultimately, we gave up on the search because it was time for dinner, so we headed for the biggest place on the island, Aviary, and to a seafood restaurant called Mish Dish. We ordered a seafood platter which was delicious. Given more time, we would have done a little bit more exploring at Aviary, but we had to head back to our overnight location. On the route back, we were treated to great views of deer, including a very impressive stag. I'd done a serious amount of driving that day, and I think we'd been on most roads in Mull, so it was time to get our head down.
Hi folks, we're at the end of our day on Mull. We're leaving in the morning, first thing. Our ferry's at 8 o'clock. We've had a really good day. We've seen hooded crows and all sorts of mammals, deers and such. A few golden eagle, which was great. Unfortunately, we didn't see the white-tailed eagle that we were hoping to see. I'm a little bit disappointed because I was kind of really hopeful about that. That would have been a lifer. But we've had lots of other cool things. You'll see them in the video. And Mull itself is absolutely stunning. See you in the morning.
We had an early start the following morning because our ferry was at 8 o'clock. I got up and had a good look around where we'd parked to see what kind of wildlife was around. It was a beautiful spot.
About 6:30 in the morning in Mull. We're just about to head to the ferry because it's an early ferry, so it's an early wake up. Unfortunately, I hoped we may get a sighting of the white-tailed eagles this morning, but we haven't really had a great deal of time as we've been getting ready. Anyway, head towards the ferry and see where we end up tonight.
This time our ferry ride was in the light, which was much better because we got to see out of the boat. At this point the sea was reasonably calm, so we stood outside and I had the opportunity to see Manx shearwaters. These are a lifer for me, so I was over the moon. Another cool bird we saw was a black guillemot. Due to these sightings, we decided after breakfast to try and book a wildlife trip on a boat out of Oban. We did manage to find one, so we bought waterproofs and headed to the dock. After a reasonably calm start to the boat trip, we saw some lovely seals. Things changed. The winds got up a bit and it got extremely choppy. The water was coming over the top of the boat as it was hitting the waves. This was a little bit scary for me. Kaylee, who's got more experience at sea, really enjoyed it. Ultimately, due to the weather, we didn't see that much wildlife on this boat trip. So when we headed back into the dock, we went for lunch. Yes, another seafood platter. We devoured it. Whilst we were on the boat trip, we were told by another person about some black guillemots that apparently nested in the sea wall at Oban. So we went down to the beach to see if we could find them. And lo and behold, there they were, nesting in the pipes, flying in and out. It was a super thing to behold. They got very, very close. What incredible birds these are. I really enjoyed seeing them. And at that point the sun was out, so we sat there for quite a while. I also watched some great hooded crows. These birds were sifting through the seaweed. Unfortunately though, we couldn't stay forever. We had to hit the road and head back towards home.
We're in Oban and I've had a bit of a day in Oban, but we're just about to leave and head back south towards home. It's about 2 o'clock, so let's see where we end up tonight. We don't know yet,
No idea.
but we'll find out.
After a 6.5 hour drive, we finally arrived back home to our house and the backyard Aviary. What an amazing weekend. What an incredible adventure. It was unreal. In the end, we didn't see the white-tailed eagles, but we saw plenty of other amazing stuff, including the spectacular island of Mull. We travelled 934 miles over 3 days, but it was so worth it. Thank you for watching. Please like and please subscribe. See you soon.